Welcome to From Betrayal to Breakthrough. I'm Dr. Debi Silber, and today's guest is Louise Swartswalter. And for 20 years, Louise has been helping transform lives individually and in groups using a unique multidimensional approach, including naturopathy, biofeedback, trauma release work, NLP, life coaching, and energy work. Louise is the owner and founder of Albuquerque Natural Health Center and the creator of the B.R.A.I.N System, a 5-step healing program serving clients worldwide. Using a combination of tools, Louise has helped people move from anxiety to calm in one session. Dr. Louise's passion is cracking difficult cases. Louise finds the things in me that no one else finds, people say. One client told her that one session felt like 16 years of therapy, while another said, "She saved my life." Dr. Louise enjoys speaking, teaching, and coaching globally and has shared with audiences on KOB TV, Good Day New Mexico, KOB Radio. Schedule her for your next big event. And you're going to love my conversation with Louise. She has an interesting way of connecting the body, mind, and spirit, releasing all that doesn't serve you and helping you heal in the process. She's going to give you simple ways to muscle test so you can have a fail-proof BS meter at your disposal too. Get ready. Here's Louise. So I am so excited because I have Louise Swartswalter. Oh, I'm so sorry I messed that up. Something like that, Louise. That's a hard name. Swartswalter here.
You got it. There it is.
There we go. I'm trying. You know what? I'm so excited, and that's why I'm just like messing up all my words, because we had a quick chat before we started, and I can't wait to share her with you. We're going to be talking about rewiring the brain for success and what she's going to be sharing about rewiring the brain, and her processes are so unique and so different and so healing. So first of all, welcome, Louise. We're so glad to have you.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Debbie.
Oh, absolutely. So how did you become interested in brain-soul connection? What's that all about?
Just like everyone else, we have our own story, right? So, I had to heal. So I was kind of allergic to everything in the world. I had a lot of heavy metals in my body. So it was after having all my mercury fillings taken out in one day. And I crashed. I literally crashed. And so I had to find ways to heal myself. And I started with my physical body, just like we all do, and did all the lifestyle changes, the organic food, all the supplements, and I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And then I started working more mentally, emotionally, and I got a level better, but I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And I kept seeking, and I kept thinking there's more. I want to feel more like myself. I want to be my true self, so to speak. There was something missing. And so Brain Soul really came out of my own quest or path of trying to figure all of that out. And what I realized was that we needed to work on many levels, multidimensionally. So it was physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energy field. And when I started releasing the blocks in the field and the brain-soul connections in the field, is when I really became more of who I came here to be, and I could accomplish more in my life and in the world and my business. And so now I see them in people. I want to release the stuff so they can move forward.
Right. And how did you even know what blocks were there? I mean, how did you know where to start?
I don't know. I think that's why it took me so long. And I think that's why I developed the process now. So I call it the B.R.A.I.N System, because I didn't know where to start. And I was basically almost like throwing darts at a dartboard. I call it putting the pieces of the puzzle of your health together. Mm-hmm. And really trying to figure it out. And then I met one of my teachers who showed me that you could actually come up with the power of the spoken word of the truth would set you free. And that when you name the truth about a certain situation, so let's just say, I know your work is about betrayal. Let's say it's about betrayal, some betrayal that you had. Maybe somebody was molested, or raped, or a big accident or something that happened in their life, or a separation of a lover, and whatever the betrayal is, we have to release the brain soul connection to that for that person to heal all the way, is my belief, because of my own path.
So, okay. So just so I understand it and so all the listeners understand, somebody comes in to see you and are they even aware of what that block would be, or they don't even have to be aware of it?
They don't have to be aware of it because I use like an intuitive process to figure it out.
And are you going by so it's purely based on intuition? Are they telling you any symptoms that they're having that you're saying, oh, that's pretty common to, let's say, betrayal or to a different challenge?
They're going to tell me symptoms probably because we're going to start with those because that's why people usually come in the door, right? They're going to have something going on, and it could even just be pain. Let's just say they have pain in their shoulder. And it's been there for years and it's become chronic, and they've even been to doctors and they don't know what it is. Often it can be emotions. So I do a process of releasing the emotions there. But let's just say their goal is to be pain-free. Well, then I put pain-free in a box. I write it on a piece of paper and I draw strings and I muscle test everything. So I'm using a process called kinesiology. And if your listeners don't know what that is, it's muscle testing is another name. A lot of chiropractors use it. A lot of natural health people use it. And it's literally testing the strength of a muscle, which is connected to your nervous system, to get an answer about something.
And I just want to stop you there. I remember it was David R. Hawkins, I think it was Power versus Force, where he talks about muscle testing, and he really explains it pretty well. Can you explain for everybody the different types of muscle testing? Let's say if you're just by yourself, or maybe if someone can muscle test for you.
Yes, absolutely. So there are different kinds of muscle testing. So if you were with somebody and you wanted to test them, you would have them maybe put their arm out, and you would ask them to hold strong, and you would gently push down on their arm. And you're testing for resistance. You're seeing how far, when they're holding tight, how far down does their arm go? What's all it is a feel.
And this is if they're thinking something or they say something?
Yes. And so I usually get what I call like a calibration. I get a yes and a no. Mm-hmm. So I'll ask them to say yes and hold their arm straight. And I push down gently, and it'll usually stay strong. Because that yes is an affirmative that's connected to their nervous system. So,
for example, if you'll say their name, yes, and then they'll say yes, and it'll say strong. So, everybody, this is like the greatest BS meter. Use it wisely. Just saying. Okay, okay. So that would be if someone were to test you. Now, how would you self-test?
So I self-test, and there's several ways I teach people to self-test. I actually use my pointer or my index finger, and I pretend it's an arm. And I put my other finger on top, and so I've got to kind of, I don't know if you guys can't really see this, but I'm
doing this as if you're seeing me. Okay, here you go. Okay.
I push down on your arm or on the finger, and I say yes and no. And the yes will be strong, the no will be a little bit weak. So now that we have a yes and a no, we can use your body to test your body and your nervous system together. So I might have you hold a supplement. So let's just say you hold vitamin C in your left hand, and I'm testing your right arm. And we might say, it's in Debi's highest interest to use this product. And it's either going to give us a yes or a no. Okay. I may have you hold something like tar or sugar or something that we know isn't good for you, and then test it, it would be a no. So you can use muscle testing to get a yes and a no. Well, I ended up practicing this when I was very ill myself, and I got really good at it. And now I can muscle test people over the phone with a voice. Wow. People can ask me to tune into their brother or their sister or whatever, and I can tune into them and test them too, long distance. So it's a very empowering once you learn to do this, because you can really clear anything that's blocking you from any goal or any intention.
So let's go back to when you were sick. So you had symptoms, conditions, things like that, I imagine. And now you were muscle testing yourself, asking yourself questions, and that was how because now you're this healthy, vibrant woman running a center. How did you go from that space to where you are now? Just muscle testing or
No, it was a process. So, I've done chiropractors, acupuncturists. I did all the natural health people. I changed my diet. I moved from Chicago to Taos, New Mexico, to the mountains, to clean air. One of the biggest things that got me sick was pesticides. So when I was back in Illinois, when they were spraying for mosquitoes and using herbicides on all the lawns to make everything look like Soldier Field. If you live in Chicago, you know what I mean. I was on oxygen for 3 years. So I went down to 89 pounds. I was very ill and I had to figure it out. So I worked with the mayor to sue the state of Illinois, and we won on a pesticide issue. Wow. So the mayor of Schaumburg, Illinois was an environmental mayor, thank God. And so we were able to do that. And I just was angry. I was just like a housewife teacher person on a mission to teach the world about chemicals and environment. And that fueled me for a while. And then I got really sick of just being sick. And I was like, I'm done, right? That's enough betrayal, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm out of here. And I moved to mountains of New Mexico. So I ended up in Taos, New Mexico for 7 years.
And you know what? I just want to stop you right there, because that's that is another, it's such an interesting type of betrayal. Here you expect, mm-hmm. you're believing that the people who are, taking care of our environment are keeping us safe. And here it was proven that you were so sick because of it. So yes, in fact, that is definitely a betrayal.
Yeah. And what I saw that was even a bigger betrayal was the betrayal for my community, not just for myself and for all the kids. So what I realized was the kids who were playing ball on all those fields, many of them had asthma. And the asthma was connected to those chemicals. And I made all those connections, if you would. And I was very vocal. So we had 14 articles in the paper. I was really channeling my anger. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was really mad about all that. And I was like, we're just not going to do this to our families anymore and our kids. And I had 2 wonderful kids at home, and all I wanted to do was be their mom. Mm-hmm. And so that was my why. That was my fuel, if you will, to get better. And so then I was like, I'm out of here. And I researched where to go. And I was like, I'm going to New Mexico. There's no grass. They can't spray the lawns there. It's all sagebrush. I can have an adobe house, no chemicals, and live in a clean environment. And so, we ate our organic food, lived in a clean environment. We hiked, we prayed. We had pet skinks and pet tarantulas and snakes. And, we were living a whole different lifestyle.
And how did your health change? I mean, what did you see?
It was amazing. So, so changing my physical body was great. So changing my diet, changing my environment was a big help for sure. I was more vibrant. I was getting my energy back. I could finally take some supplements that I couldn't take before. And yet there were still things that I felt were missing. And so I started reading books and doing things like grateful journals and doing more of the emotional work and the spiritual work and the mental work. And I progressively got a little bit better and better. And then there was this angst that happened that said, I needed to move again. I needed to go somewhere where I had better schools for my kids. I'm mm-hmm. a teacher. And so we ended up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so it was just this amazing journey or gift, if you will, that brought me to this place. And at the time I was a dyslexic therapist, and I was using a multisensory language program to teach kids to read, write, and spell, to change their brain. And we would actually do what you say with what you hear, with what you see, with what you write. So we would skywrite B, bat, B, T, mm-hmm. table, T, A, apple, A, and put it all together. Mm-hmm. And so that multisensory program, what I realized then is this light bulb went off that said, you know what? We're doing multisensory programs to help kids who cannot read, write, and spell learn to change their brain. And my brain didn't work when I was ill. I couldn't remember my own phone number. It was written in my wallet. This is before we had cell phones. And I went, but we're not doing that in healing. We're not doing multi-dimensional, multi-sensory in healing.
So that was the light bulb moment. And what did that lead to?
So that led to me developing what I call my B.R.A.I.N System. And B.R.A.I.N is an acronym. And it stands for that holistic program. So the B is body, getting your body healthy, detoxing, R is releasing the old mental blocks, releasing the betrayal, releasing the chatter. A is aligning with spirit. There's always a spiritual component to healing, no matter what your belief is, right? It doesn't have to be, so it's Christian, Buddhist, whatever your belief is, there's an alignment with spirit. Mm-hmm. Integrating means integrating your brain frequencies to your soul truth, like mm-hmm. integrating it all. Mm-hmm. And then N is putting in a new program. And that new program is, how do you want to show up now? What do you want to do now?
That's so beautiful. And I would love for you to give examples of that. But it's just so funny. Every entrepreneur who's listening to what you just said, they recognize that. That's the entrepreneurial seizure. When you have that light bulb moment and that moment of clarity where everything you've been through all of a sudden makes sense. And now you're on a mission to share it with the world, because this is a divine download. And it absolutely sounds like it. So walk us through it a little bit.
Okay, so that's what developed. So all of those techniques and methods and things that I've been honing for years and stuff that I did on my own body, I ended up starting my business in my home. I think it was 15 years ago now. And so I started working with biofeedback devices and naturopathy with my students. So my students who I was teaching how to read, write, and spell were my first clients. Mm. And they would come in and they'd be like, I can't read today. You have to put me on biofeedback. They would try to manipulate me. And they were pretty smart that way, right? There was like 13-year-old boys who would be like, I know that helps me and I want to get rid of this headache today and you can help me. So I started putting them on biofeedback and I started to see their brains change in a different way than I could help them with read, writing, and spelling. And one little guy jumped 2 grade levels in reading with just biofeedback.
Wow.
And that was unheard of to me because I was a teacher. I was a special education teacher. I was like, how could that happen with just me hooking him up with these neurotransmitters every week? And so I started putting all that together and realizing the power of energy work, if you will, biofeedback frequency to help change people's brains, but not just their brains, it actually changed them on a more authentic soul level.
And you know what, Louise, can you explain biofeedback a little bit more? Because there may be a few people who don't understand what that is.
Yeah. So, so biofeedback, the type of biofeedback that I use is, it's a computer program. And there's a few that I have, but one of them has straps that you put around. One has got electrodes that you put around the forehead. And then it has one on each wrist and one on each ankle. And it's reading your electrical body. So it's finding out levels of things like hydration, oxidation, your adrenal function, which is your stress organ, and giving you that information. But it also sends a frequency or an energy or information back to the body to change it. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like the way that you can think of it is if you understand that homeopathy is like treats like. So if you had too much arsenic in your body, the remedy would be arsenicum album, which would be actually arsenic, but a very diluted level. I'm going to say the layman's world or the world that we know or most people know might be a vaccination. Mm-hmm. A vaccination of the flu shot, even though as a naturopath, I have to say that I'm not a fan of those. But the concept would be they're giving you a little bit of the flu so your immune system could fight it.
But the overall intention is to detect and correct. Right?
Exactly. And so it does. And so the kind of biofeedback that I do is people leave lighter. It's stress reduction. And so it looks at your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual at the same time. And then I'm able to intuit and use my processes along with that at the same time. Mm-hmm. So people, it's like catapulting you forward much faster.
So can you give us an example of somebody coming in or a certain situation and what they would do with you, how they would come in, how they would leave?
Yes. So I worked with a woman the other day who her goal is weight loss. Okay. She's having trouble losing weight. So she knows that there's some thyroid issues because she gets cold all the time. But basically, she didn't have any answers from anybody else. Okay, she's been trying different weight loss techniques. They haven't worked for her. She's gone to the gym. She's done dieting, and she's still not losing weight. So we needed to look at the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So the physical component is she's low in iodine and needs some kelp and some supplements to help boost her. Mm-hmm. And then the cause of all of that is heavy metals. So this is the physical cause. So then I have supplements and I have a store, and I'm good at muscle testing, so I can figure out exactly what someone needs to help put them back in balance and walk her through some dietary things as well. Okay, so that's just kind of general, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What we did. Mm-hmm. And then the other piece of the weight loss was, again, very much like what you do, it's the betrayal in the field. Mm. So we put her goal in a box, and we said, who or what is pulling you away from that? Well, there was something at age 6. There was something at age 14. There was an issue with a current boyfriend.
And this is what you picked up through the biofeedback, or just intuitively?
Intuitively.
Huh.
And we released it, and she felt lighter. So what happens is when you release that, the person feels lighter. I have them do a before and after picture because their face will change. It's pretty amazing, actually. I'm in awe myself. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Yes, that's what we want. So she left lighter. She looked different. She felt better. She has more energy now. And then when I get her on these supplements, that's going to make even more changes for her. Mm-hmm. So this was just a session this last weekend, So that's what's possible. It's totally possible to completely change your life, change your energy. And it's not just for people. We can put your business in a box. We can put a house that someone wants to sell a house and they're like, I want to sell this property. Can you work on that for me?
And that's Absolutely. The kind of thing, really big. And is this because everything is energy and it's just a matter of not manipulating, but I guess healing or releasing? That is just, that's so interesting. And so often I guess we feel like, well, I've done the work already. I should be, I'm fine. And really the body is saying, oh no, you're not. This is really what's holding you back. So is there, what can you share with us about these processes or
let's do a process. So let's do a quick little process just to demonstrate. So, may I use you as our?
Oh, sure.
As our surrogate. So our intention here is that this is also reaching everyone who's listening.
Wonderful. That's
who's listening. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I would do is ask, what do you want to have change or be different? Is there something that you want to shift in your life or that you're working on?
I'm working on, so everybody knows I'm working on a book proposal, which will be a book, and upgrading my online program. Would those count or one of those?
So let's just see. So is the highest interest to work on the book proposal, upgrading your line? I'm getting upgrading your online pro. When you say upgrading, is this just changing content or is it getting more people involved in your program?
I'm completely revamping it. It was my Betrayal to Breakthrough online program that now is going to be so much more robust and just comprehensive and just so much better. I'm so excited for everybody because I know what's going in there.
That's so good. Okay, so really this is completion of it, right? Is that your goal? You want to finish it?
I'm actually headed to a group and we're reworking it together and it's going to be on an entirely new platform and it's going to be completely revamped. So the content is there for the most part, but it's like all the puzzle pieces are out on the table, but it all has to be put together.
Okay, so putting it together. So this is the completion of the putting it together of your online program, and attracting all the right people, all the new clients, right? Okay. So I put all that in the box here and said, okay, this is the completion of that new online program, and of course, with that is attracting all the right people to that program who are going to benefit from your amazing work, right? And so then we just say, okay, who or what is pulling you away from that? Is there something blocking that from happening? 1, 2, 3. Is that true? Is there 3 strings? And so I get 3 strings. So, and then again, we want to have an intention that if other people are listening and they're working on a project, whatever your project is, put it in the box, hold intention while I'm doing this, so maybe you'll feel lighter too at the end. Okay? So then I just say, okay, there's 3 people or situations that are affecting that. And I muscle test, and I'm just going into the energy field and saying, is this first one a male, female, or a situation? And I get situation. And then I say, okay, well, what's the situation? Is it a situation with Debi? Yes. Is it a situation with Debi and somebody else? Yes. Is it with a client? No. Is it with a partner? No. Is it with a family member? Yes. So situation with a family member, is it male or female? It's a situation with a female family member. And then we say, okay, do we need to know who this is? No. Do we need to know the actual situation? Yes. Is it something recent? Is it something old? It's something recent. It's a situation with a family member in the last maybe week. Now, what's interesting is it could be something you know about or maybe not. Like if when I say that, does anything come up?
No. I mean, I have 2 daughters, but they're wonderfully supportive that I know of.
Okay, so sometimes it's actually something going on in that other person's energy field.
Or maybe it's not my girls. Maybe it's a different woman in my life. I don't know.
It's a different woman. Is this mom? No.
Mom
different
passed.
Woman in your life? Different woman in your life? Is it one of your girls? No. Is it somebody else? Is it an aunt? No. Is it a grandparent? It's a grandparent. Is it a grandparent that's living? No, it's a grandparent that's passed. Is this grandparent who's passed, is this on mom's side or is this dad's side? This is grandma on dad's side. I don't know if is she still living?
No, she passed when I was 2.
Passed when you were 2. Okay, so let's find out. So if she passed when you were 2, is it something when you were 2? No. Is this just her energy? Yes. Is her energy still in your field? Yes. Can we name the words? 3 words. Vulnerability. Sorrow. Vulnerability, sorrow, and powerless. So if grandma had any of that going on in her field, we're connected to our bloodline. And so the ancestral connections are important for you to be 100% you. So that's probably why this is coming up, because the word powerless is here. And of course, women in those days, I mean, we could go off on a whole nother tangent about, the women thing, we weren't even able to vote, till fairly recently. And so if this is vulnerability, sorrow, and powerless, the way we clear it, it's words that actually came out of John 10:10 in the Bible, but it cuts the cord in a different way. Mm-hmm. So we say, was that a liar or a thief or a fraud? And it was a thief on you completing that online program and attracting those amazing people. And then we say, did it kill, steal, or destroy something? And I got destroy. And then I say, well, what did it destroy? Energy, ease, energy, ease, and protection. Awesome. Okay, did we clear that? Yes. Okay, so what should happen by the time we get done with 3 strings here is you should feel a little bit lighter. Like those were little angst things that you didn't even know were there. That I just want to say, take the charge off a little bit.
So what you're saying is this was from my grandmother on my father's side, just things that she was, I guess, putting on me that I didn't even know that may have been holding me back in some way. And what you did was just cut those cords to that. Okay. So everybody who's listening, I had no idea that any of this was happening or preventing anything. And this was just, you felt this and Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's the stuff in the field that we don't know about often that holds us back. And it's never purposeful. In other words, your grandma didn't purposely do anything to you. It wasn't intentional. She's not sending you any bad energy. That's not anything like that. It's really just everything is energy, and the power of the spoken word, the truth will set you free. So it's like if we say the right words, and sometimes I'm sitting there really looking for the words for half an hour. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not the right one. It's not the right, I'm looking for the right word. And you'll say the right word and you'll suddenly feel lighter. Like something lifted. And
it's interesting because when you did that, I took a really deep breath. I don't know if that means something, but it's also interesting too. I mean, think about my work. It's about betrayals. And of course, I share openly my own. And maybe there's something having to do with that there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, so that word betrayal, I mean, in a lot of ways, all of this work in a sense, this brain soul balancing, technique that I use is about betrayal. It is about, but it's not intentional. It's just energy. It's the fact that we're connected to so many people we're connected. I can walk into Target and go shopping, and whoever's checking me out is having a bad day. And, they're at the register and we're talking, and then I leave kind of like having a bad day. When I came in, fine.
Because you're picking up their energy.
I picked up their energy.
Right. So Louise, that was amazing. Thank you. And I hope everybody listened, that you could be in that box with me too and get what you needed as well. What do you want to make sure you say to everybody before we wrap up? If you're not feeling like yourself, or you're feeling like you're out of balance, keep seeking. Find those answers for yourself, whatever they are. Because everybody has a gift to give, and my teacher kind of said, if you're not using your gifts in the world, you're not honoring God. Wow. And you've given us a wonderful gift. Where can we learn more about you?
So you can learn more about me on the website. So it's louiseswartswalter.com. You can call me here at the office. I love to connect with people. So the number is 505-797-0540. And certainly on Facebook. And again, it's Louise Swartswalter. And then I also have another Facebook page, and it's Albuquerque Natural Health Center.
Louise, you've given us such a gift. I mean, really think about it. So often we look to heal the things that we can see. I mean, you just healed something I had no idea was even there. So I'm sure everybody listening is absolutely going to benefit from it. I know I just did. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's been a gift to spend this time with you, Debbie, and keep up the good work. And gosh, good luck on your online program, and your book proposal. I'm so excited for you.
Well, I feel like it's going to be so much better now. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Didn't you just love that conversation? I was so excited by what she shared. The minute the podcast was over, I made an appointment with her to clear what she couldn't get to during the recording. Stay in touch with Louise by visiting her at louiseswartswalter.com, and we'll have her links in the show notes at pbtinstitute.com/podcast. Here's my biggest takeaway. You may think you've dealt with something, but energetically, it could still be lingering there. And when it does, it's impacting you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Clear it and really be done with it. Then you're in a position to really see and embrace things you are now ready for because you have the space and the bandwidth for it. And these emotions may already be showing up for you in the form of illness or unhappiness. If the pain of betrayal is keeping you sick, sad, and stuck, you may be struggling with post-betrayal syndrome. Take the quiz and see over at pbtinstitute.com/quiz. And let us support you. Go to Facebook and join our group, Women Hacking Betrayal, where we give information, tools, and support to help you move forward and heal once and for all. Can't wait to be with you next time. And here's to your breakthrough.